Gotham is a beautiful horror story. A cold, monstrous city that is beautiful in its decay and utterly indifferent to your personal suffering. And it is utterly indifferent, Arthur Fleck. To Gotham, Arthur is just invisible. Another broken soul it will gladly crush. To survive in a civilized society, we must all learn to perform. I call this performance the persona. The persona is the safe, tamed, and acceptable performance we give to fit in. It is the masks we wear to please others.
Arthur, his persona is a performance. He forces a smile, desperate to be funny, to be seen, and simply to be loved.
But the mask is too thin. His laughter hides an ocean of trauma. Trauma that Gotham is about to make boil over. Gotham doesn't offer help. It offers fists. It breaks the persona. Green learned that a clown's smile is easily washed away by blood and rain.
Every punch, every insult, and every rejection is a crack in the polite mask of sanity he wears. The forced smile is becoming a grotesque scar.
Most people spend their lives from their darkness. They suppress their fury, hoping it will vanish. But when you repress the unconscious darkness, the shadow, it is the basement of the mind, where we bury our selfishness, our unspeakable fear, our violent anger. For Arthur, the violence is the key. When Randall hands him the gun, he isn't just giving him a weapon. He is unlocking the basement door. For the first time, Arthur feels power, real power. And the shadow, sensing freedom, begins to grow hungry for more. Gotham's weight is now crushing. Fired, disgraced, and carrying a deadly secret, Arthur is pushed to the subway edge.
Please! Please! I can't! It's a condition.
The polite persona attempts one last time to laugh it off, but the physical abuse fractures it beyond repair.
The basement explodes. Arthur doesn't just pull a trigger. The shadow unleashes years of repressed fury in one fatal shot.
There is no going back now. The victim is dead, and a predator, wild and untamed, has taken his place. When you first release your repressed shadow, it feels like euphoria, the ultimate relief of finally being true. However dark,
the euphoria fades. Reality returns. He should feel guilt, but the overwhelming emotion is relief. A strange clarity settles in his mind.
His conscious mind cannot accept what he has done. To survive the contradiction, his psyche splits further. Cognitive dissonance begins its dangerous work. When an unintegrated shadow is released, the old self can no longer stand. It must be rationalized or it must be replaced. Unlike Batman, who integrates his darkness, Arthur begins to build a grand lie to justify it. He claims he is the victim of a society that crushed him. And Gotham provides the perfect validation. The city's anger mirrors his own, validating the monster that is growing within him. The Arthur persona is dead. Out of the ashes of trauma and repression, a new, untamed, and monstrous persona is born, the Joker.
The new persona isn't safe or tamed. It is terrifyingly authentic. Arthur finds ultimate freedom not in logic, but in absolute chaos.
Batman leashes his monster. Walter White hands his demons the keys. But Arthur Fleck? Arthur burns the whole damn car down. When an unintegrated shadow gains absolute power, it acts like a toxic virus, infecting everyone around it. It feeds on shared frustration. Gotham's forgotten see him not as a monster, but as a symbol. A dark beacon for their own repressed anger and hopelessness.
He realizes he can use his own personal tragedy to fuel a larger fire. He begins to manipulate their collective anger to serve his growing monstrous ego.
The Invisible Man has vanished. A monstrous new entity now stands at the center of a chaotic universe. The monster has become the master.
Amidst the growing chaos, Arthur seems to find a solace. A perfect, gentle companion in Sophie, a light in his dark life.
When the conscious mind cannot stand its own reality, the shadow can construct seductive, powerful fantasies to keep the ego trapped in a lie. But the warmth is a hallucination. The shadow's first major lie collapses. Sophie barely knows him. The solace is an empty, cold room.
Forced to face his authentic pain, he descends into the grimy depths of history. He seeks the true, ultimate root of the monster growing within.
The records reveal Penny's ultimate deception. Adoption, abuse, monitored insanity, sanity. Repression turns into absolute detachment. Love vanishes. The shadow offers its most deadly gift, complete freedom from any remaining human connection.
Amidst the growing chaos, Arthur seems to find a solace. A perfect, gentle companion in Sophie, a light in his dark life.
He stands at her bedside. The last anchor to Arthur is severed. Love has turned into absolute detachment. The lie is over.
When you first release your repressed shadow, it feels like euphoria, the ultimate relief of finally being true, however dark.
To truly integrate the shadow, one must first look at when you accept your capacity for evil, are you truly free? The preparation is now conscious. The messy, forced clown smile disappears. He is creating his own authentic persona, the face of chaos.
The monster is ready to go into the cage. The new Joker is ready to face the man who validated his pain on national television.
The transformation is complete. This is the dance of an integrated man. He has accepted his monster, and he is finally beautifully free.
He enters the underworld, a manufactured reality of bright lights and fake smiles that validated his persona, but is utterly unprepared for his shadow.
The unintegrated shadow gains absolute power, but it still feeds on shared frustration. It seeks a larger stage to validate its own existence. Just one thing, Murray. When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
Out of the ashes of trauma and repression, a new entity is born. He has accepted his monster, and he is ready to set the world on fire. The invisible man has vanished. The new master stands at the center of a chaotic universe. He returns not to rebuild his kingdom, but to face the final, terrifying demons he created.
He is finally on the stage he always dreamed of. But he didn't come to tell jokes or seek approval. He came to tell the truth.
You know, Murray, I don't have anything left to lose. Nothing can hurt me anymore. My life is nothing but a comedy.
Radical honesty with the self is the first step of shadow integration. But when you make that darkness public, you are inviting absolute chaos. I killed those guys on the subway. Yes, it was me. I'm not joking, Murray.
The lie is dead. Cognitive dissonance is gone. He claims his ultimate victimhood on national television, validating the monster that is growing within Gotham.
What do you get when you cross a mentally ill loner with a society that abandons him and treats him like trash? I'll tell you what you get.
The broadcast cuts to static, but the message has already been sent. Arthur didn't just cross a moral line, he obliterated it for everyone to see.
His radical honesty acts as the ultimate spark, the repressed shadow of the entire city. The forgotten, the angry, the invisible, erupts into an uncontrollable inferno.
When the collective unconscious is starved of meaning and justice, the mob does not think, it only destroys.
In the center of the destroyed from the wreckage, he is no longer a victim of Gotham. He is its new, dark messiah.
He paints his own truth. The pain is gone. Arthur Fleck is dead, completely consumed and reborn in the fires of his own integrated shadow.
He stands above the chaos, finally seen, finally celebrated. The tragedy is complete. The monster has won.
The morning after the fire. The shadow's victory is always a Pyrrhic one. It destroys the very world the ego needed to survive in.
This is not just the tragedy of one man, it is the tragedy of the collective. A society that refuses to acknowledge its own darkness will inevitably be devoured by it.
Bruce Wayne used his trauma to build a shield. Arthur Fleck used his trauma to build a bomb. Conscious integration creates guardians.
Which brings us to the punchline. The stark, sterile walls of Arkham State Hospital. The final resting place of a consumed mind. He believed he was breaking out of his cage, but the shadow didn't set him free. It simply moved him from a prison of anxiety to a prison of absolute isolation. The human being disappears. There is no longer a person, there is only the monster acting itself out.
So, what does Arthur Fleck's tragic descent mean for you? You might not live in Gotham, but you absolutely have a basement in your own mind. Every time you swallow your justified anger to keep the peace. Every time you say yes, when your entire being screams no.
You are not being a saint. You are building a psychological pressure cooker. You are secretly feeding your own shadow. And it's only a matter of time. People who believe they are purely good and harmless because they are completely blind to what their shadow is capable of.
In the real world, an erupting shadow doesn't wear clown makeup. It looks like a sudden, career-ending outburst, or a slow, isolating, crushing depression.
You face the exact same crossroads as Arthur Fleck. Will you ignore your darkness until it consumes your life? Or will you face it?
Is your dark side. You can't. The solution is the delicate art of shadow work, forging your most dangerous impulses into useful tools.
You must invite the monster to the table. Do not run. Negotiate with your suppressed anger and listen carefully to what it is trying to protect.
When properly integrated, your repressed anger doesn't become a violent explosion like Arthur's. It becomes the firm ability to set unbreakable boundaries in your life.
And that forbidden selfishness you feel guilty about? Once you accept it, it transforms into the unstoppable drive you need to finally achieve your goals.
You must acknowledge the force within, but you keep the control firmly in your own conscious hands. You use the fire to protect your life, not to burn it down.
You stop performing the exhausting persona just to please everyone else. And you finally start living as a whole, authentic human being. Arthur Fleck's story is not a blueprint. It is a profound psychological warning. It is the ultimate tragedy of what happens when we deny our own humanity. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Two men, broken by the same violent city. One embraced the shadow to become its guardian. The other let the shadow consume him to become its king.
The choice is entirely yours. You can keep playing the harmless, polite victim until the pressure breaks you.
Or you can finally open the basement door, shake hands with the monster, and become the unstoppable architect of your own mind.
If you want to start your own shadow work, I highly recommend reading Memories, Dreams, Reflections by Carl Jung. The journey is worth it.